So today we're going to be looking at 2024 NCAA champion Jesse Mendez and his favorite throw to use based on me watching his matches. The only throw I've seen him do consistently now is the drop whip over, right? Or the Iranian lat drop. It's a move that I've advocated for a lot on this channel. I've called it the best move in wrestling, or the best throw in wrestling. So let's get right into it. This first clip is from his true freshman season. This match is 2 years ago in 2022, back when he was at 133 pounds. It was the first time I've ever actually seen him use this technique, right? And I hadn't seen it for almost 2 years, or really 2 years since then. But this season, he's doing it a lot. So he gets it over under with a shot, but notice what he does. He takes a step towards his opponent's feet, and he's gonna drop down to both knees to the underhook side. This is really just not really a breakdown or a drop whip over, but I guess I can go ahead and break it down for you guys where this may be your first time seeing this move at all. So this is the next 3 examples are going to be all from this season. He's been doing it a lot this season so far. So you're in the over under. Typically you want to take a slight step with your underhook side leg. So he has a right-handed underhook or right hand underhook, yes, right side underhook. He's going to take a step towards that way with his right foot, and then he's going to pivot and drop down to both knees. Now, you're trying to turn about 135 degrees when you turn, and you aren't jumping higher. Both feet are leaving the mat, but you are not elevating and then dropping. Both feet leave the mat, and you're just dropping down and trying to pivot. When you're not landing on your knees in front of them or facing them and then turning, you're turning while you're in the air. Ideally, you want your chest facing the mat when you land on both knees, but that may not always happen. But you're using your tricep grip overhook to pull him down, and you're using your underhook to push him across. And between the torque that you create and your upper body pulling, then you should get the takedown. A lot of times you'll get back points from this move. He just does it when there's a lot of space in between him and his opponent sometimes, right? His head may be in his opponent's trap, or his opponent's head may be in a trap. But if your chin is over their shoulder, then you're more likely to get back points. So watch what he does here. He takes an outside step to get the angle, because you really want your knees to end up outside of your opponent, or to that side of your opponent. It doesn't have to be outside his foot. It's hard to get that far over, but he's not right in the middle. Even if you did do it right in the middle, I have multiple examples of that type of technique being used with the drop whip over. We have a Greco representative in the U.S. who does it that way. Jaden Lee from Colombia hit it against Peyton Robb at this Cliff King Las Vegas tournament last year, where he dropped right in the middle of him. So it doesn't really matter, but the most common variation that Trent Hadley, Ramon Amuzad uses is a try to be on that particular side of their opponent's body. And then he's able to get back points right there. Let me play it again. So he steps over to kind of get the angle, drops down. You see how he's pivoting while he's in the air, and he's not jumping up. At no point did you see him get higher. At no point. He drops down to both knees, eventually brings his chest down to the mat, facing the mat. And he's going to whip his opponent over, and he's able to get the 3-point takedown and 3 near fall points. This is at the Clarion Open. He used it twice at the Clarion Open. I like how he entered it. So he has a tricep grip overhook already. His opponent has an underhook. He goes for a head inside single, gets pulled up into an underhook. That happens a lot with head inside singles. Any type of head inside single, knee pull, head inside single, sweep single, anything of that nature. Outside carry, which is just a sweep single with the tricep. Start this over. Notice his step, right? He's like this. He's going to take that step right here. That helps him get the angle a lot better. Now, can you do it without taking this step? Absolutely. It'd just be a little bit harder. Then he whips him over for the takedown. Now, he is not the only national champion that uses this technique. Before we continue with the rest of the video, I just wanted to quickly plug Earn Your Goal Academy, the #1 tool in the world for both coaching and learning wrestling. Right now, you get access to all 10 of my courses, plus access to my exclusive community where I have exclusive posts and videos. We'll be posting more in that in the upcoming week now that the collegiate season has started. Also, if you're enjoying this video, It's a part of my low risk over under system where I go in details of the drop whip over, the different variations, second moves off the drop whip over when you fail it, and plus plenty of other techniques from the over under system. I also have it included in my low risk, highly effective takedowns course as well, where you see I have the drop whip over. So look at that. One thing, additional thing I can show is that obviously with the courses, you get me showing the technique, but you also get live footage of the techniques being used in real matches against by high level opponents and against high level opponents. So check that out after the video, and let's get right back to it. Last season, you had Richard Figueroa use it at a tournament. So he does a partial one, right? He has a tricep grip when his opponent is getting up. His opponent doesn't even underhook him back. So Richard Figueroa has a underhook on the opposite side. His opponent doesn't even underhook him back in order to give him the overhook, but he's still able to hit the technique. And notice that he also gets outside of his opponent's body. He was able to get a full set of 4 back points here. But let's look at it a little bit slower. See, he even took a step, really. A slight step, but nothing too crazy. I mean, a lot of you guys will end up in this position anyways from starting off. And then he drops down to both knees, and he's pivoting in the air. Pulls the guy down, stays close to him. He stays close to the guy. The guy almost gets his hand out, but Figure gets chest to chest, and that arm stays trapped. Here's a clip that I always play of Trent Hidley using it against Parker Ketkhazen at the Cliff King Las Vegas tournament. As soon as the match starts, pretty much, they're in the over-under position, and he's able to hit him with the drop whip over. One more time. He's going to take a slight outside step. Just a slight outside step. You see that? It just helps you get the angle. If you feel like you can pivot and get there without it, then do that. But it just helps you get the angle. And then drops down to both knees. You see how his chest is already facing the mat when he lands? And obviously Trent Hidley is probably the best folk styler at this technique. He used it at the highest level. He used it against the highest level opponent that I've seen so far. And you can even do it from an actual over-under body lock when they use the edge grip body lock. He drops. And he's able to get the pin. Do this flat. This is a Greco match. But the hips are back, right? The hips are back. You end up in this position in folk style all the time. It's not like they're standing straight up. And he ends up with both his knees outside. But look at that big step he takes, right? Big step to get the angle. It's a great throw. The reason why I consider it the greatest throw in wrestling is because most throws are high risk. This technique is not high risk at all. I have other videos doing a better job of actually breaking down the technique itself, but it's so simple. I don't really think that you can't get it just from watching this video. But I just wanted to highlight an NCAA champion in Jesse Mendez using this technique 3 times already this season. 1 in his wrestle off and twice in the first tournament of the season. And we're only a week into the season, right? So a lot of times with more unknown, unorthodox moves like this, people want to see proof of good guys using it, right? So here's even more proof. I feel like I already had proof before, but I always want to convince people to use techniques that I really like, that I think are great, that I think would make your wrestling better. So I did not mind making this video. And I will see you on the next one.